everyone, InfiniteCaz here, and welcome back to another video. Today, I want to talk about the update system in Splatoon 3, and why I find it disappointing. As we all know, all three games in the Splatoon franchise have launched light on content. However, they were, or are, updated throughout their lifespan. While in concept, I have no issue with this, I, and many other players, are disappointed with how the updates for Splatoon 3 are being handled, and it's left a bad taste in my mouth for sure. Today, I want to discuss why I think the update system has caused a lot of disappointment, and then give some ideas myself for how Nintendo could rectify this. With that being said, let's get right into it. So, how do updates work for Splatoon 3? The major content updates take place every 3 months, with the release of a new season. In each new season, we get a whole bunch of gear and decorations, a handful of weapons, 2 maps, then maybe Salmon Run content, addition to a new game mode, and so on. We also receive more frequent balance updates throughout the season. The start of a season is when your Anarchy rank and X power are reset, and there is a new catalogue to level up and complete, which gives you a variety of prizes like gear, emotes, and decorations. We usually see a new big run at the start of each season, and in addition, events like extra work, while they don't happen at the start, seem to happen once within a season. This method of updates is quite different to Splatoon 2, which I will be comparing to 3 here, as I don't personally have experience with the updates in Splatoon 1. However, they did function similar to 2 from what I'm aware of. In Splatoon 2, we got content more frequently, albeit less content with each update. For example, at times, we would get a new weapon release per week, or 4 at the start of a month, with maps more occasionally sprinkled in. There were not seasons of anything in 2, we just got a different version for major updates, some of them having a distinct theme. For example, we got the first Kenza weapons with the 4.0 update, and then the theme of Kenza weapons was built upon in the 4.1 release, with the addition of a new map and so on. In 2, the times of updates were less fixed. However, an update could be expected roughly every month for the first couple years of the game's release. The actual content in these updates were less fixed, but I never knew anyone having an issue with that. As long as there was new content, nobody was complaining. So now we have set the scene, let's talk about the Splatoon 3 system in depth. In reality, the Splatoon 3 update system is not all doom and gloom, and there are things to enjoy. Probably the thing I like best is the more distinct feeling behind each season, which is bolstered by the addition of the catalogue. I like the feeling of progression within each season, and striving to be able to unlock new cosmetics by playing the game is a really neat idea. I also do appreciate how consistently timed the updates are, so we know when we can expect new content. It just makes the system more intuitive in my opinion. I also really like how the content we get is more varied, as I love the new decorations, titles, emotes, and so on. Being able to collect more than just gear is really nice for me, and the sense of progression helps keep me engaged with the new content throughout the season. I think in general, a lot of the content that has been added has been really solid. I love the addition of the new main weapons and the addition of other modes like challenges, even if I have issues with how they were executed, and extra work, which make the season more full throughout its duration. However, that is really all I can think of that I like about the system. So now, let's move on to my issues. By far, My main issue with the update system is that there is not enough gameplay content to justify releasing it every 3 months. While, as I mentioned, the cosmetic stuff such as gear and banners are pretty great, as per the latest season release, I don't think 2 maps and under a dozen new weapons is really enough for a space of 3 months, especially when one of the maps is basically copy-pasted from Splatoon 2. A month after a cluster of weapons are released, the hype surrounding them has died down, and there really is little to be excited for until the next season announcement in well over a month. I think it's just more mundane to have content released less frequently, even if the amount of content is significant. I think in addition to this, the actual quality of the content released is a bit lacking. There is a lot of complaints about the map design in this game, and it's safe to say the new map releases are a lot less exciting if the maps themselves are subpar. This is also the case to some extent with the weapons. I recently talked about how I found the kits of most of the recent weapons to be quite disappointing, so the same sort of effect applies with the maps, and less interesting weapons really just adds on to the disappointment of the update, especially after having waited 3 months for something new. I think in addition, the lack of content that really distinguishes Splatoon 3 from 2 adds to that feeling of disappointment. While we do have table turf battles, no online ranking system, and not being able to play a tease with randoms makes it feel less of a substantial game mode, even if it can be a lot of fun. This is in opposition to Splatoon 2's Salmon Run, which was a huge addition to that game at launch, and for many people justified it being a sequel. To give an example of a somewhat disappointing addition, we got challenge battles, but in many ways that was the trade-off of a proper league mode, so them getting added, especially as they are limited time events, makes the update just feel like a letdown. I don't want to go on too much, as I'm sure you can all get the gist of my point. The content updates are pretty infrequent, and then when we get updates, the content just doesn't feel substantial enough to justify said infrequency. I do think Splatoon 3 is a great game, so when the updates are disappointing, it just makes me sad more than anything, and I hope this will be improved on as the game continues to be supported. For example, we will be seeing more paid DLC content soon, which I am very excited for. We have been seeing some quality of life changes lately, which does lead me to think the devs are listening to feedback, so hopefully some issues I have here can be addressed at a later stage. Simply, one of the best ways to make updates better would be to just add more stuff in the updates. However, I don't think dumping in an extra map and a handful more weapons would be sufficient. I think it would make the most sense to spread the content throughout the season. Say, 3 new maps per season, where 1 is released on the 1st of each month. I think we could get maybe a larger batch of weapons at the start of the season, then maybe 2 new weapons on the 1st of the 2nd and 3rd month, just to make things a bit more interesting. I feel like when a load of weapons get released, the individual hype for each one is lower, so having more frequent weapon releases can help more weapons receive increased attention. In addition, I think for X battles, the powers reset at the end of each month. I think 3 months is too long a period personally, and having shorter periods for the rank would make the game mode more fresh and coincide with the smaller mid-season updates I proposed. I also think each season should have some content that is not just gear, maps or weapons, something that defines it. For example, the Sizzle season came with the introduction of challenges, and I feel like this is a trend that should continue. For example, we could maybe get a new type of Salmon Run event, or a new game mode for anarchy battles, something we haven't seen yet in this game. New maps and weapons are definitely appreciated, but I don't feel like they can justify a new season alone. Why can't the events also be more suited to said season? What relation does a fog challenge have to do with the summer season? I wish a little more thought was put into selecting maps and cosmetics that more match the season, so a coherent theme can be seen throughout it all. I think in general, these changes are not too significant, but they would have a great impact on how the updates are received by the community. So to conclude, these are the reasons I find the Splatoon 3 update system disappointing, and my suggestions for what could be done to improve the system as a whole. How do you like the Splatoon 3 updates? Would you fix anything about them if possible? Let me know down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, as it really helps me out. We are nearing 2,000 subs and I would love to have you here. And with that being said, I will see you all next time. Bye!